This video is long past due because I've had this guitar for almost a whole year now. In fact, you guys have seen this guitar on several of my metal rhythm and lead lessons, especially the 80s metal lessons. And of course, you've seen Gunner playing this on quite a few videos as well. But this, guys, is the Shroedder Marksman 87 guitar. Now, this is made by independent guitar maker Mike Shroedder, and he's based out of Hamburg, Germany. And today, I'm going to go over all the details and the specs of this guitar. Also, I'm going to share some really cool tones from this guitar through a real amp, by the way, and hang around for the end of the video. I'm going to go into the things that I love, like, and a couple of the things that I would change about this guitar, so hang around for that. Now, just a quick backstory on this guitar before we get into the meat and potatoes here. So Mike Shroedder sent me this guitar. He made this guitar for me and sent it to me. He had reached out to me on Instagram and just told me he had been watching my channel for quite some time and he found it really inspiring. He just wanted to make a guitar for me. So of course I'm like, okay, I'm kind of blown away. I've never had anyone do anything like this for me before, so I was pretty shocked and of course ecstatic at the same time. So he sent over the online order form for a custom build. He does custom made guitars, by the way, and I'll have the link to his website in the description of this video. And by the way, guys, this is not a sponsored video. If you order a guitar from that link from Mike, I don't get anything for that. And just to clarify things, Mike did not send me this guitar and then ask for a review. He didn't ask me for anything. Again, I've had this for like almost a year now, and I've been meaning to do this video for some time, so I'm doing it today. But I want to say a big thank you to Mike for sending me this guitar. And Mike, by the way, if you're watching this video, if there's anything I miss as I'm going through the specs, please feel free to chime in. I'd appreciate that. All right, let's get into the specs of the Shroedder Marksman 87. The first thing I want to point out about this guitar is the most obvious, and that is this gorgeous finish. And I don't mean to over-exaggerate this, guys, but this is just a beautiful finish. Now remember, this was a custom order, and this is what I picked out. The emerald green here, that's my wife and I's birthstone, and I love the fade, how it fades to black. And I didn't mean to make that into a Metallica pun, but anyway, so just a really awesome finish. Mike did such a great job on this. Now we've got a two-piece mahogany body, and it's a 24.75 scale. And the body, this guitar, just the guitar itself, is fairly lightweight. So this is great if you're playing long sets on stage. Now we've got a set neck construction, and it's got a roasted maple neck here. And then that's 21 millimeters thickness at the first fret. So this is a little bit thicker neck. If you're used to playing something like an Ibanez Wizard neck, you know, those are really thin. This is more probably like almost like a Les Paul style neck here. Now we've got the rosewood fingerboard with 16-inch radius, and then you've got the abalone inlays. And this guitar has, you see this unique look here, it's got 27 stainless steel medium jumbo frets here. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about these super high frets towards the end of the video. Now you've got the cool 80s metal reverse pointy headstock. That's just a killer metal guitar look there. And the tuning keys, normally they would put the Goto locking tuners on here. At the time Mike was making this guitar, it was really difficult to get parts. This was during, 2020, so it was kind of hard to get the parts, and I'll probably end up putting Goto locking tuners on here at some point. I just love those, but to be honest, I don't even know what type of tuners these are. But I mean, it stays in tune quite well because, of course, it's got the locking tremolo as well. Speaking of the tremolo, we've got the Black Schaller Lockmeister tremolo on here. Now, this is very similar to the Floyd Rose that you'd be used to playing, and of course, if you know the history behind Schaller and Floyd Rose and all that, that's very closely connected there. I believe Schaller licensed the first Floyd Rose, if I'm not mistaken. Now we've got the HS pickup configuration here, and of course you can see the toggle switch. You've got three options. You've got the bridge pickup, you've also got the neck pickup, and then you've got a mixture of the two together there. The typical volume and tone knob here. And the pickups themselves, these are also Shroedder pickups. Again, we've got the humbucker and then we've got the single coil. And speaking of pickups, I think it's time to hear what these sound like. All right, it is time to hear what this guitar and these pickups sound like. Now, real quick, I'm going to be playing this through a live amp. I'm going to be playing it through my EVH 5153. This is the EL34 tube version. It's the 50-watt head, and I've got the matching 212 cabinet. We're just making everything simple, miking it up with a good old Shure SM57 mic. I'm not really using any effects pedals or anything like that. I am using a noise gate for the metal channel that you'll hear coming up, and that's the MXR Smart Gate. And I did add a compressor to the tracks, and I've got some delay on the leads that you're gonna hear. So let's start out hearing some clean tones, and the first tone I want you to hear, we're actually going to use just the neck pickup here, the single coil here. All right, now we're gonna toggle down one, and we're gonna hear what the combination of the single coil and this first part of the humbucker, we're gonna hear what that sounds like through the clean channel. One more clean tone, but by the way, the one you just heard, that's actually my favorite clean configuration there. I just love the tone that I get out of that. But I'm just gonna play a little bit using the bridge pickup. This probably isn't gonna sound ideal for clean, that's more what we use for metal, but let's just hear what it sounds like anyway. Alright, it is time to hear some rock tones. Now, one quick note about what you're about to hear. So, I'm playing this through the red channel of the EVH, which is their fire-breathing high gain channel. However, I've got the gain turned down pretty low, as you can see on screen here, because I want to get more of just that rock-driven tone. We're getting to the metal, don't worry. Now, for this, what you're about to hear, of course, I'm using the bridge pickup for the tone you're about to hear as well. Now, before we get to the metal tones and the lead tone and the full mix I have coming up for you, I just want you to hear what this setting sounds like using both the neck pickup and, of course, the combination of the two. So here's what it sounds like with just the neck pickup. Alright, one more tone here using this amp setting, the low gain here. We're going to switch it down to the combination of the pickups here. So here's what that sounds like. Then we'll get to the metal. Now it's time for some pure metal tones out of this guitar. I'm flipping it back down to the bridge pickup here. Let's hear what this sounds like for metal. before we go to the full mix, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the same setting here, same bridge pickup, but I'm going to play just a few short guitar solos for you. I'm going to add a little bit of delay on the track in the studio here just to give it that, that 80s lead sound. But I want you to hear this, and then we've got the full mix coming up after that. Time for the full mix, but don't forget, after this full mix, and this is going to be pretty short here, probably like a minute long, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I love about this guitar and the thing or two that I would change about this guitar. So that's going to be an interesting little guitar chat that we're about to have. We'll do that after this full mix. Hope you enjoyed those tones, guys. Now it's time to break down what Jason likes and loves about this guitar, and maybe the thing or two I would change about the Marksman 87 here. So we're going to talk about that. Now, one thing I'll say is this guitar is indeed built for 80s metal. In fact, that's what Mike Shroedder set out to do when he started making guitars. He's fascinated by that style, by that genre and that era. And he said, hey, I want to make guitars that's going to capture that vibe, that feel, the sound and tone and all that. And I think he did a really awesome job in doing so with the Shroedder Marksman 87. Now, I'd love to say that about his other guitars, but I haven't played those yet. Maybe someday I'll play them all. The thing I like about, or the things rather that I like about this guitar, one is the playability. This guitar plays just very smoothly, very effortlessly. I typically don't play guitars that often that have the thicker necks. However, because of the size of the fingerboard here, for some reason, it just fits my hand perfectly. When I first got the guitar, I was a little worried. When I first pulled it out of the box, I'm like, man, that neck looks like kind of like the Les Paul style, which I like playing those guitars. I can play them, okay, but sometimes the thinner necks, like I've got the Ibanez RG 1570, the Prestige, with the Wizard neck, that one fits my hands a little better than most thicker necked guitars. But again, the way this is built, my hands just, it seems to fit really, really well, so that makes the playability easy. The fretboard, or the fingerboard rather, and then the medium jumbo frets, that also makes the guitar a lot easier to play. And for someone like me that plays a lot of leads, a lot of guitar solos, I want that ease of playing. You know, I've played other guitars where you're playing and it feels like your hands just kind of get stuck, you know, because of the frets or the neck or whatever. But again, I love the playability of the Shroedder guitar here, the Marksman 87. It plays just really awesome. I also like the distinct sound that I get from these pickups. These are passive pickups. I didn't go over that, by the way. There is a very distinct tone that you're getting out of this, and it's just different. You know, when you're playing it out in the room or on stage or whatever with an amp, it's just a different tone that you get. The single coil here, that's also a very unique tone for the clean sound. Now, I said earlier that I actually like the middle configuration here, right? When the knob's in the middle, which means you're using that single coil with part of that humbucker there. That's my preferred clean tone with this guitar. I like the single coil by itself. That's okay, but when I flip it back to using the single and the little bit of that humbucker, that's a beautiful clean sound to me. So I really like that about the guitar. I also like that it is super lightweight. Like I said, I have played this on stage a couple of times at some of my solo shows. You know, I'll play like a rhythm and I'll loop that, and I'll play some lead over the top of that. That's just something I do at my solo gigs to spice things up a little bit, and people seem to enjoy that. But yeah, I played this a couple times at my solo shows, and I plan on playing this out at some rock and metal shows whenever I start, you know, playing with a band, which I hope that comes up sooner than later. But I would definitely bring this guitar along for playing out, because I don't know, it's just, again, it's lightweight, it's easy to play. The tuning stability of this guitar, and again, I am going to put locking tuners on this thing, but the locking tremolo, the Shroedder locking tremolo here, it keeps this guitar in tune quite well. I play this pretty often in the studio, and I've really never had any tuning issues with the guitar at all. So that to me also makes it perfect for playing live. The last thing you want when you're playing live is a guitar that goes out of tune all the time. So this guitar really, I mean, it checks all the boxes for me. One of the things I would change is I would probably personally do away with this part of the, you know, the fretboard. Other than the fact that it does look edgy, it does look cool, but my fingers really don't fit these frets too well. But let's see if I can pull off a little lead hitting that highest note up there. It actually took me several times to get that note to ring out. My fingers don't quite fit on there. Not really a big deal though, because everywhere else, hey, you know, the guitar plays just fine. The only other thing I would change, and there's actually a remedy for this, I'll share this with you, but the only other thing I change about this guitar, you see how the single coil pickup is slanted there. Well, if you look closely, the strings and magnets of the single coil don't quite line up. So when you're playing the clean tones or any tone on that single coil only pickup, you do lose a little bit of volume and a little bit of punch. And again, I don't know if that's by design or if that's just the way the guitar is made. Now, the remedy for that is Mike actually has a Shroedder Marksman MK2. This is the Marksman 87, but again, he has a Marksman MK2. I'll put it up on screen here, and you can see it's pretty much the same design, but without that extra part of the fingerboard. And of course, you can see the pickup there is not slanted either, so you know those all line up with the strings there. But guys, that is my rundown of the Shroedder Marksman 87 guitar, and I just want to say thank you to Mike Shroedder once again for sending this guitar to me. I'm truly grateful, truly appreciative of this. This gets a lot of play in my studio, again, as you guys see on a lot of the lessons, especially anything having to do with 80s metal. You're probably going to see this guitar the majority of the time. And I also look forward to playing this on stage more as well. Again, it's perfect for playing live because it checks all the boxes of just being an easy guitar to play live and play on stage without having any issues. And again, guys, I'm going to leave a link to Mike Shroedder's website, Shroedder Guitars, in the description of this video, so definitely check that out. He's got a custom order form on there as well, so if you want to go through, and he's got, you know, options for you to build your own guitar. So yeah, definitely check that out. And Mike, thank you once again. Thank all of you guys for watching my channel. I hope you enjoyed my review of the Shroedder Marksman 87 guitar. Please give this video a thumbs up. YouTube likes that, and I truly appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe and, you know, turn on all your notifications and all that good stuff. I'm constantly putting out metal guitar content, and I'm also been giving some tips on playing live as well. So starting to expand the channel a little bit here. Thank you guys once again so much for your support. You know what to do until the next video. Keep it metal, or in this case, keep it 80s metal.